Is Apple entertaining you? This is MacVoices. Today's MacVoices is supported by RemoteHQ. Collaborate as if you were in the same room. Visit remotehq.co/MacVoices for a free trial and 3 months free with the code MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. And folks, this is MacVoices Live on YouTube and Facebook. We do this Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And for the rest of you, everybody else in any other time zones that can't make it at those times, the edited versions of the show get posted in the feeds because we want everybody to enjoy the wisdom of our panel. And boy, what a panel it is. So as usual, I'm going to go around the room, introduce everyone. We'll get to our topic and see what develops. So taking my screen, as I always do, first up, Mr. David Ginsburg. David, good to have you.
Good to be here. Just digging out of lots of snow here in Chicago, and I'm tired from doing that, but glad to be here with you guys tonight.
That's good. Well, if you fall asleep, we have the chair wired, and all we have to do is hit the button, and you'll wake up. Yeah. Mr. Jeff Gamet is back, also in a snowy climate. Jeff, welcome. Good to see you.
It may be a snowy climate, but where's the snow?
I can give you some.
That would be great. Thank you.
You don't have snow? Seriously, Jeff, you don't have snow, or you just have cold?
Well, it's been like 30s and 40s, low 50s, and then over the weekend it did drop down to like what people would expect, teens, below zero, and we got a couple inches of snow, and today it's back up to 41. And my big decision today going outside was, do I wear the lightweight fleece or the lighter weight fleece?
Okay, that says something about it. Yeah. So speaking of cold, Mr. Jim Rea is here looking like he's calling in from the North Pole when actually he's calling in from his porch.
Yep, California.
And just how cold is it there, Jim?
It's a frigid 66 degrees.
That's shorts weather out here.
Yeah, and now half the nation
for a
is going
while,
to be
but not for an hour.
Half the nation is going to be sending you angry emails, Jim. But we should say,
but
Jim
we have
has
no
been.
Power.
Yes, Jim is very diligent. He's here without power, but he found a way to get some Wi-Fi and use his iPad, so he'll be here for as long as the battery holds out. So,
this is LTE, baby.
Nice. Excuse me. Ooh. Joining us also from a cold climate, Ms. Brittany Smith. Brittany, welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Which is your best side, Brittany?
Oh, they're both good.
Okay. I can ask it. I just can't answer it.
I wouldn't have cared if you'd answered it. It was a quote. Anyway.
Yeah, I knew, but I didn't know that. Kelly Guimont is here too. Well, welcome, Kelly,
Yes.
with a different background, different mic, different everything.
Different everything, because I'm not the only person working from home at my house right now. So I voluntarily ejected myself from the office and took up shop in a different part of the house. So you get, wrong hand, you get tiki mugs over my shoulder and some Disney paraphernalia as well. So there you go.
Okay, different look, different sound.
And full of snow and ice here. I think we have approximately half the degrees that Jim has, and a foot of snow and about an inch of ice on everything. I did not have power for a while over the weekend. I don't recommend it.
Oh, wow. Not good.
It's not half in Kelvin.
That's true.
I don't like the way you people are doing winter. It just seems hard.
It is. It's not odd. 50 degrees in the house is not within normal operating parameters. I do not recommend it.
Yeah, but it's keeping all the computers cool, so they run that much better, Kelly. Look at it that way.
That I will tell you, as soon as the lights went out, it was about 10:30, and I was almost asleep, and all of a sudden everything made a weird noise, and everything downstairs started beeping because it's all connected to UPS units. And Mr. Kelly, we got everything shut down and everything, and Mr. Kelly looked at me and went, I see the gears are turning. Are you just trying to figure out what all is charged? And I'm like, yeah. So what's charged? What situation are the batteries in? How much charge am I going to need from other stuff? Like if we have to go somewhere, like what's the hotspot situation look like? So yeah, I was covering all the important bases.
Yeah. And we're not even doing emergency preparedness tonight, folks, but Kelly just gave you a quick idea.
Yeah, now that I have two USB-C laptops, I have to find a battery that will charge those so that I can make
just
sure those
plug
have
them
power
into
too.
each other and they'll continuously charge each other.
Is that the loop, the Tesla loop they're always talking about? That's what it is? It's just
that's the Tesla loop. It's just two MacBooks connected.
Oh, okay. Man. Last but absolutely not least, I think he's really bummed out with Mardi Gras being canceled. Mr. Mark Fuccio. Mark, good to see you.
Hello, Chuck. Hello, everyone. Yes, it's Fat Tuesday, and because of COVID, Mardi Gras is canceled in New Orleans. Rio is canceled. Carnival is canceled in Rio, which is where that image is from. And I guess the whole world is doing something different today to celebrate, or not, as the case may be.
Yeah.
But anyway, tell us, what is tonight's topic?
Well, tonight's topic, I have to tell you, we've talked about productivity, and MacVoices tends to focus on productivity a whole lot more. And I had a bit of a realization this week, and I thought we would talk about Apple Entertainment. Not just, obviously, so somebody's going to say, yeah, you're talking about Apple TV, the service. Not necessarily. I realized, this should not be a surprise to me, but I realized that I spend more time in front of my iPad or my Mac for entertainment purposes than I do my TV screen. And that really it kind of surprised me, or I should say connected to an Apple device, because I am counting audio programming in there as well. And so I thought we'll take a break from productivity discussions and talk about, our Apple entertainment experiences. I keep trying to stick TV in there.
If you can, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole different, I guess a whole different mindset for me, but I realize, I don't watch that much TV, but I do watch a reasonable amount of YouTube, and not necessarily just purely for entertainment, but it pops up there and, you get seduced by it and there you go. So I guess I'll throw it out and let everybody start, What devices do you use as consumption machines? Not primarily as consumption machines, but all of them, none of them, some of them. And Mark, we'll start at the bottom of the hierarchy here, because I know I'm not sure how much of a TV watcher or an entertainment person you are, but do you use your Apple devices for entertainment?
Oh yeah, I certainly do, and probably. The one I use most is the iPad. It's a great size, great screen. The new one has good speakers, and depending on what sources, the latency to HomePods is horrible. So it is a very not pleasant experience. But if you're watching Apple TV shows, it's provides. So I do that if it's video. Also listen a lot to other concerts and things, and play those through the HomePods. And we've talked about those, I think, on other shows. So yes, they have definitely infiltrated some of the entertainment space, as well as I think I've probably bought only one physical book in the past 3 years, and almost everything else I've bought from Amazon. Shock, their Kindle app, and I read those predominantly on the iPad. Sometimes on the phone if I'm waiting somewhere, but since no one's going anywhere for COVID, there's no reason to have to read something on your iPhone. So that's basically what I do. So back to you.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Kelly.
Yeah.
Let's go to you. And I guess I'm not sure if this is fair. I don't know if you or Jeff should be the ones that I point to as far as gaming goes, because gaming is a form of entertainment that I just simply do not do. I just don't. So does gaming figure into your Apple entertainment sphere?
Basically, no. I occasionally will play a game, but if I'm going to play games, they're not from Apple. I have a Switch, a Nintendo Switch, and I play games on that. So, like, if I'm not playing, I think I have a couple, like, match 3 games, your Bejeweled style situation. I have a couple of those on my phone, and that's about it. As far as games go, like, I've put other games on there, but I don't ever really play them. I've taken 2 runs at the Apple Arcade free trials, and it just doesn't stick. Like, the stuff there is not stuff that I'm really playing. I have occasional games that I play on my iPad, but I do enjoy tower defense, but I have like a couple of those installed and I don't play them a ton. I don't really play games on my Apple TV, but I consume entertainment with a mix of stuff. I don't really watch a lot on my computer. I do watch a lot on Apple TV, and I watch a ton on my iPad. Sometimes on my Apple TV, I will use my AirPods with it. If I'm watching and maybe Mr. Kelly's doing something else, or I'm trying to do something quietly and I can watch, I can sort of watch TV by myself if I put my AirPods in, so I'll do that. Or like with the Apple TV or with the iPad, but that's most of where I'm like consuming entertainment. I will play my Switch hooked up to the television as well. Like I'm using the big screen TV a lot, but not necessarily for games from Apple. Anyway, I have a theory about the Apple TV, but that's a separate conversation.
Okay. Well, we'll come around to that.
Yeah.
But I use the AirPods a lot of times for the iPad as well. And Mark mentioned the latency, but I have to say that at least for the iPad and for what I'm doing with it, I don't find that if there's latency, it is so I'm able to overlook it. Put it that way.
When I use them with the Apple TV, I don't notice it at all. So I do, and I watch a lot. I watch something streaming every day, probably on my iPad or on my Apple TV, on one or the other. Because a lot of times it's because I work from home, so I'll watch 15 minutes of something while I'm eating lunch, or a half-hour episode of some show that I'm currently in the midst of watching, and I'll do that like while I'm eating lunch and sit with my iPad and watch TV while I'm eating. So I do, and then like in the afternoon or evening, that usually shifts to the television instead of just something quick that I'm doing because I'm in the midst of something else and it's convenient to have the iPad in front of me. I still buy a lot of books, but to Mark's point, like I spend a fair amount of time on my Kindle as well. So you'll have to ask Jeff more about Apple games because I'm not the person for that.
Okay, fair enough. Jim, I know you do a lot of programming. I don't know if you consider that work or recreation or both. But how do you use your Apple devices for entertainment?
Does Xcode count as gaming?
Yes, because sometimes you lose.
Yeah, that's.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You never know.
And it'll drive you crazy. Yeah, I don't really game too much. Pretty rare. I never, not on any device. Don't have a Switch or anything else. I do use my iPad like a ton, just like Mark was saying. Read books on it. I have like thousands of physical books, but that like stopped like 7 years ago, and now I don't want to touch a physical book. I just mostly on the Kindle app on my iPad. Watch YouTube on the iPad and several other streaming services. So I spend a lot of time, and probably more than I'd care to admit. And podcasts. Let's see. And I don't know, to watch, walking, it really helps enable that. That's kind of entertainment. I guess that's considered more fitness, but it's kind of gamification of exercise. and it really helped me. I think before the pandemic, I've been walking multi-thousand steps a day for like 6 years, but when I got my watch, I started like really increasing the pace, because I would look at my watch and I'd be like, oh, you know what, I could do, I could do a higher pace, or my heart rate isn't that, it gave me that feedback loop that really helped improve things. But the biggest thing for me as far as entertainment is the iPad, reading and watching video. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put my camera off. My wife says the power's on, so I'll listen to you while I walk in and set everything up, and then I'll join on my regular setup. That works for you.
I hope
That's
it sticks.
fine.
Yeah,
we'll see you soon.
she says it's on, so I'll just mute myself and
yeah. Go get warm.
Yeah, good luck, Jim. We're all
Yeah.
counting on you.
60-degree weather.
My in-laws' power came on and it was on for about 5 minutes, and then it went back off again. So that's why I was like, I hope it sticks.
Oh,
that seems
just a
mean.
tease.
It's cruel. Yeah.
Today's Mac Voices is supported by RemoteHQ. Collaborate as if you were in the same room. Visit remotehq.co/MacVoices for a free trial and 3 months free with the code MacVoices. RemoteHQ is where you and your team want to go when they want to get together and work without actually getting together. With RemoteHQ, you get an online collaborative workspace that has all the benefits and none of the drawbacks of a physical meeting space, and maybe even some extra benefits. It doesn't matter what device you are using. It doesn't matter what platform you are on. As long as you can open a browser window, you can enjoy the benefits of RemoteHQ. That right there is a huge benefit, since other collaborative platforms have all kinds of hardware requirements or software clients to download and install. And with RemoteHQ, your meeting rooms can be persistent, so that what you were working on yesterday is right there waiting for you today. You have access to all sorts of your favorite apps within your workspace, and if you choose, a searchable digital trail can be created so that none of that brilliance of your last session was lost. Find out what RemoteHQ can do for you and your team. Visit remotehq.co/MacVoices for a free trial. Once you've discovered how powerful and easy RemoteHQ is, use the code MacVoices for 3 months free. That's remotehq.co/MacVoices. remotehq.co/MacVoices for a free trial and 3 months free when you are ready to bring your team on board by using the code MacVoices. Thanks to RemoteHQ for their support of Mac Voices. Jeff, Jim just said something interesting there that I hadn't really thought about, but with the Apple tech, and we are focusing, of course, on the Apple tech, but it feels like that there's been a gamification of fitness, of productivity to some degree, of just a whole lot of things. And I really hadn't thought about it in exactly that way, but that is true. I mean, even entertainment, because now both shows like this, where we're not here singing and dancing, we're providing hopefully some entertainment, but also some information, and so it feels like maybe it's all starting to blend together.
Yes, it's all blending together, and I don't think that's healthy.
Really?
Yes, because when we start gamifying too much of what we do, like I'm looking specifically at the productivity side of things. Once we start gamifying stuff like that, now we are basically taking what we do every single day, and for many people, what is grinding them into the ground just to do their job every single day, and adding this layer of guilt on top of not being able to get everything done, because now they have to hit points or get a badge or whatever it is, and some days you can't be as productive as a game or a gamification would want you to be, and man, you should never feel bad about that. So I do like a little bit of the gamification as long as it's done in a healthy way for fitness. But yeah, I don't like it in the productivity side at all.
Could you give
Brittany?
some examples? I feel like gamify means something a little bit different to everybody, and I'm not sure what situation that is.
Of course, now I can't come up with any of the examples off the top of my head, but I remember seeing apps where if you were reaching your work goals, not workout goals, but your work goals, you get like a badge or something, and then you could compete with friends to see who got through their to-do lists, things like that.
I mean, it seems like some of those things would be hard to quantify, and if you've done something extra, or something required, I could see that as being problematic. I'm somebody who used to use Habitica like very regularly, which is literally gamifying your tasks. But in that case, it was me, Brittany, saying, these are the things I'm struggling with for motivation, and this is a way to help me with motivation. It probably literally wouldn't have worked if somebody else had assigned it to me. But for me at that point of life, it was intensely helpful. Because, I was a kid in the 80s, and I was good at getting those other coins and stuff. And, the part of the reason that it can be so addictive is because you can hit these achievements and they're concrete and measurable, and there's a reward attached to it. And with the theoretically simple task of finish thesis, I could break it down and make it act more like that other game that I had an easier time doing. And in that case, it was working, but I also was working on my cognitive neuroscience degree and noticed when something wasn't working, I could tweak it and basically use myself as an experiment, because that's what I always do. But yeah, I didn't have it thrust on me, so it wasn't like an extra thing necessarily. But I can see the downside and the upside.
Well, sure. Now, Brittany, I can see where for you, especially the way you're using it, this was a positive thing and a healthy thing, and you had the self-awareness to be able to tell when something wasn't working, and
right.
Then you could decide what was the appropriate path at that point. I get concerned when there's people that this is thrust on them, and they really have no choice. Where basically they're just completing every task throughout the day becomes, I hate to put it this way, but I'm going to anyhow, a KPI against compared to just another employee's whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
But then there's also the people that they don't have that self-awareness like you have. And they may decide, I need to gamify just getting through my to-do list every day. And they miss tasks, and now they don't deal with that in a healthy way.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And as somebody who works with individuals, yes, what motivates an individual is different in a different person and at a different time and place. And it's very intensely personal. So yeah, I had not heard of companies doing that on a mass scale, which is a little scary. Thank you.
Yeah,
Brian,
scary.
Brian in the chat room brings up an interesting word. He says, seems like gamifying relates to an addictive quality of wanting to accomplish something, whether that's a level of a game, closing rings, getting a badge for completing a task, etc. Craig says swarm badges. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't know what a swarm badge is.
Gamification of giving away all of our personal activity data to a company. So Swarm was a check-in application. Do you remember Foursquare?
Oh, sure.
So
I remember.
Foursquare split into two things, and the Foursquare part was the part that I can't remember that whole side of it. But Swarm was the part that the rest of us actually cared about, which was, hey, if I check in here at a conference and all my other friends are using Swarm at the conference, I know which of my friends are in which session or what restaurant we're all going to. And then the rest of the time you don't use it because, holy crap, you don't want to be giving away that much information. But yeah, getting badges to give up personal information. Gamifying our privacy, that's just creepy.
Yeah. But
So,
I'm gonna tell you, being the mayor of stuff was pretty fun. It wasn't the thing I should have liked, and I totally liked it.
well, I remember those days counting those things, and yeah, I guess so. But if you boil it down, it really didn't mean anything unless the place said, hey, we're going to give you an extra, hoagie or something because you're the mayor. But other than that,
that's why I liked it.
You like the extra hoagie? Okay.
Yeah.
Friends would drive by my place and check in so they could be the mayor of my house.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. David, we haven't gotten to you. How do you use this, and what's your take on it?
Yeah, I'm not much of a gamer like many of us on this panel. I didn't really get into the gaming part. I mean, I use Apple TV to consume a lot of video content. I probably am in subscription fatigue these days because it seems like I'm subscribed. I'm looking at my Apple TV screen here. It seems like I'm subscribed to pretty much everything at this point. So, just liking the entertainment. I would also, also add my iPhones. I have the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and there'd be many times I'm working from home. I would go down in my kitchen. I have a sitting area there we sit and I eat my meal, and I would watch something on Xfinity Stream, being a Comcast subscriber, and watch whatever shows I've recorded or any live TV. So I would consume it that way. Do the iPad as well with Apple, but the Apple TV does have a lot of conveniences by being on your TV. I know a lot of people are still questioning how is Apple TV still relevant. I know, Cal, you guys just talked about that the other day.
We did.
And it's hard to say with Apple TV its relevance, and I'm not trying to spin the topic away here, but I'm not a big smart TV fan. The smart TV interface, in my opinion, I don't think is very friendly. I decided on my one TV downstairs, I deleted all the apps, and there's nothing on there at all. I just want to focus on the Apple TV and then the Comcast hookup. And Apple TV has they've done a decent job with a lot of the apps, and especially with all the consumed products for your HBO Max, CBS, All Access, soon to be Paramount Plus, and Disney Plus, and all those. And it's easy to get to, but like my wife, she sometimes doesn't have the ease of being able to get to the Apple TV. I explained how to use it, but always ends up back to the Comcast. And like many of us, want us to cut the cord because you do spend a lot of money on that stuff. But Apple TV is going to give you a lot of that interface. So I'm hoping that Apple does do something with this interface. And there have been lots of rumors about that. But in a nutshell, that's pretty much what I do as far as consuming a lot of this stuff. And I do use my iPad as well. And iPad is definitely a good device to have. I have the 11-inch, so it's a smaller screen, but definitely I would consume a lot of that video.
So does anybody feel like me that the Apple TV, the device, it's trying to serve two masters? It's trying to deliver content, but it's also trying to act as that gateway to other people's content through the use of their apps. And because I have an Amazon TV that is Alexa equipped, and I also have a Roku TV. And of the two, I think I prefer the Amazon interface, but
really?
their reason for being is to deliver their content to me. Right. Roku is like this massive, incredibly large amount of channels, and so it sort of plays in the same space as the Apple TV. And so I don't know. I know there've been discussions about the Apple TV being irrelevant at this point. I'm not sure I agree with that. But on the other hand, I spend more time with my iPad than I do with my TVs. So, and I'm firing up a Netflix app to watch something on Netflix. Mark.
Yeah, if I could chime in here about the Apple TV, I think it still suffers from the problem. It's a separate, device and control you have to put in your hand. And in our house, I mean, we've got 3 of them, but I'm the one who uses them. But for about 2 years or a little more since I got the big iPad Pro, I don't think we've used the Apple. We may not have used the Apple TV, or if so, it's only been once or twice. So I think the problem is it all comes back down to interface and controls, and the fact that you have to maybe set a separate HDMI input on your TV, and then you have the separate control in order to go and select content. It's just a gigantic pain in the butt, and my wife doesn't do that. So I think as maybe was David was saying that, the stuff goes back to, all you want to do is pick something up and select a channel. You don't want to go through all these, this checklist of steps before you can see content. That makes it virtually impossible to access. And if you can't access it, it is virtually invisible. I think maybe for a lot of, shall I say, geeks like us here, we'll do it, if we want. And certainly what I found is for Netflix, you have a Netflix app, and for Apple TV, you have an Apple TV app. Is it better maybe if they're all accessed through one? That might have some incremental benefit, but it's really, really hard to put a value on it. So I think the battles over streaming and who's going to deliver content, these are certainly not won yet. And maybe going back to David's point, or a combination of David and Chuck's point that I interpolated is the Apple TV device itself obsolete? Well, maybe it is, to the extent that there's an Apple TV app for Apple content mirroring the other services out there. So that's sort of the way I am thinking about some of this video. Is it's still a very fragmented user experience. And I'd like to go back to Chuck, because I don't have a Roku device, but certainly about that, would you compare and contrast Roku versus Alexa, and hey Alexa, play Real Housewives of Orange County on Chuck's machine.
Mark looks forward to your letters.
Yeah, because you just triggered the A lady.
You could probably see my shoulders crawling up as I'm like, you can't say the word, you can't say the word.
I know. I like to add too is I have all the interfaces just like you, Chuck, but I have all the individual devices, not the smart TVs. I have a Roku. I have the TiVo Stream, which is an Android TV. I have the Fire TV, because I want to see the interfaces. I want to experience it. I want to see what everybody else is looking at and experiencing. And I have to say, I kind of lean towards the Apple TV in the sense, because I think the interface is a little more friendlier. But I think a lot of people like the Roku better because of its price. You can get a Roku, the midline one. It's HD for $35, whereas Apple TV is going to cost you $140, $150. So you got to look at it in that sense too. Plus, you also look at content. I know of one of the networks that IMDb has it as a TV streaming service. You can only watch that on the Amazon Fire. You can't watch that on any other device. So you got that in a sense as far as content as well. So that's where you got to measure it. Go back to the Apple TV app. With CBS All Access going to Paramount Plus, they're already pulling their content because that's what Apple wanted to do. They wanted to be an aggregator where they wanted to have all the content in one place in their app. Well, CBS is going to pull it out of there. They don't want it as part of the Apple TV app. So there's some potential changes with these stuff. And then you can add all these other services. You got free services like Pluto TV and others. I can go down that road, but there's just so much of the content that you can consume, you really got to look at the devices and see what's going to be best for you. And I think Apple's got to get smarter with the pricing with the Apple TV, because what the Apple TV does is very similar to what those other lower price ones do.
That wraps up the first part of this discussion of Apple and entertainment with this Mac Voices Live panel. In part 2, we dig a little more into the Apple TV as a set-top box, Apple TV Plus as a service, and how the two overlap and don't necessarily overlap. That's next time on Mac Voices. I hope you will join us then. And until then, as always, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.